Hey guys, and welcome to a video I've been bouncing around for a while now and finally decided to tackle. This one is going to be pretty controversial, as there are literally hundreds of ways that a list like this can be made, and not everybody is going to agree. Just look at my video about the Masters 8. But isn't that what makes uploads like these fun? So today, we're gonna take a look at what I think the top 10 hardest rival battles are. The choices are endless, and like I said, this one will be controversial. Everybody, especially with Pokemon, seems to have a different idea of what hard or difficult really means. I'm going based on personal experience, discussion people have had online, and common sense when it comes to where you're at in the game when you're taking on your opponent. The parameters are as such. There is only one battle per rival, and all battles take place before the post-game. There is one entry on this list that definitely pushed that a little bit, but we'll get into it when the time comes. So that's rather simple to understand, right? So I guess get your fingers ready to comment how you disagree, and let's roll right into another fun top 10. We're gonna start this list in black and white for your battle with Cheren on Route 10. It's the last time during the regular game that you battle Cheren, and when he uses his superior team, it can be a little bit of a challenge. I think it's worth noting that Simipour is actually the best of the three monkeys in the game, and that's no different with Cheren. You do not want to be on the opposite end of a Scald from this Mystic Water holding chimp. The Liepard with Night Slash can get some big crits on your team, of course, but it's the superior that is most worrying. It can set up Coil, so its Leaf Blade becomes lethal. And of course, Giga Drain for regaining health is always an annoyance waiting to happen. It's a shame Cheren doesn't have more Pokemon on his team, because the trainer he is sharing this spot with did. That's right, we have a tie. Trace from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is here at number 10 as well. He has a full team of 6 with a Mega, and of course is the championship battle in that game. The thing that works against him is how abysmally easy Let's Go is, as well as the fact that his Pokemon all have just 3 moves each. It's a team that ends up being so crippled by its environment that it is only as good as Cheren's in my mind, not better. These two sharing this spot just sort of feels right. But I know that the two most controversial spots on any list are the 10th and 1st spots. So I look forward to the comments. We move in the Sword and Shield in a battle with Hop here, the one you have with him at the Winden Stadium as you fight for the right to challenge Leon. His team is the one with Cinderace on it, surrounded by Dubwool, Corviknight, Pinkerton, Snorlax, and with the exception of Pinkerton, I think this is a very solid team. Sword and Shield suffer from the same issue as the Let's Go games. They're really a bit easy. If only they decided to give Hop a full team of 6, all with 4 moves each. But that's just not the case. Still, his Cinderace is rocking with Pyro Ball and Gunk Shot, and if it Dynamaxes, it'll up the attack and speed potentially by using Max Airstream and Max Knuckle. The Snorlax, using its Triple H moveset, can get pretty annoying too, and Corviknight is a good Pokemon in general. There's not that much to say about Hop, but the fact of the matter is that it can be a challenging battle that you have towards the end of the game. How about another battle in black and white? Technically speaking, according to not just me, but to Bulbapedia as well, N is a rival of your characters in black and white, even if he also happens to serve as a member of the evil team. When you battle him in black and white at his castle, he brings into battle either a Reshiram or Zekrom alongside Caracosta and Archeops, Vanillux and Klinklang, and finally his signature Zoroark. Having that legendary dragon lead off his team is already a challenge. But you know what? Those other Pokemon aren't pushovers either. The two fossils have their flaws, but Archeops with acrobatics is extremely scary. As for Caracosta, it can really only be taken down by special attackers, and its moveset is actually extremely capable of bringing pain. Zoroark can literally be anything other than Zekrom or Reshiram, so it can punish you if you don't gamble correctly with certain Pokemon on the field. All in all, The true scary factor of N's team is Zekrom and Reshiram. Fusion Flare and Fusion Bolt are some destructive moves, and while you might be battling with your own legendary dragon, it won't make it all that easier. Dealing with N is a challenge, but definitely not the hardest by any means. I don't think I'm satisfied just yet in my discussions about Unova, so let's go with Hugh from Black and White 2 now. Hugh's team that features Embor is the most worrying of the group, due in part because of Embor's explosive power. Access to Flamethrower and Brick Break for stab with Scald and Rock Slide in his back pocket. It's of course slow, but man is it freaking strong. Bouffalant, having the moveset it has, is also very threatening, as its coverage for a plethora of Pokemon is prevalent. Oh, and before I forget, we're talking challenge mode here. These Pokemon are all level 59 with Embor at 61, and of course have a strong AI and stat allocation behind them. Simipour will use a Mystic Water Surf combo, sort of like Cheren's, and well, who really cares about Unpheasant? In a challenge mode, Hugh has a great opportunity to slap you up big time. If you're not doing the most with your team in the challenge mode, Hugh will be even harder. As it stands now though, he's still not as hard as some of these others that we're about to get into. Closing out the first half of the list today is Wally's team in ORAS. Most people remember him in RSC as being a challenge, but when you throw Mega Gallade into the fray with these remakes, it gets even more spooky. That's really the big threat here on the team. Altaria is of course something of a challenging Pokemon to deal with, but Gallade has the ability to sweep your team. Disregard the fact that Roselia and Magneton aren't fully evolved, and Delcatty sucks. This Gallade deserves all the attention. It can run Swords Dance, which will boost an already colossal 165 base attack, and then Psycho Cut and Close Combat coming together for some massive damage. If you don't have a Ghost, Fairy, or Flying type that can outspeed Gallade, you're going to get smashed. I know that, for instance, my editor got trounced by Mega Gallade, especially several times when first playing ORAS. There are plenty of people I read comments from complaining about it online as well. Wally may have been a pushover at some points in his life, so he decided to make friends with the Mega Gallade and ruin some runs. He's a great cutoff point before the top 5. I think it's time to talk about another championship battle you have with a rival. This one being the battle with Hal and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I think that all three teams are relatively similar in strength, but the one I'll go with for this entry is his Incineroar team. It just feels like, with Darkest Lariat, Flare Blitz, and Earthquake, you're in for a lot more pain from this fire starter than the other two in Alola. The rest of this team is no joke though. It actually is quite good. That Raichu has made things very difficult for people, and Tauros, having a strong moveset and Intimidate, makes it an annoying beast to tangle with. Noivern and Crabominable probably gave someone somewhere a hard time once, but the starter and Raichu are just the worst. There is a lot of complaining that people have done about games in the franchise since X and Y being too easy. But if you're on par level-wise with Hal, you'll struggle with him to a real degree. You know that not everyone is a complete pro at Pokemon, of course, and it's battles like these that make the fact super apparent. We've got the most recent battle on the list so far coming up next. Your battle with Barry at the Pokemon League in BDSP. This is his Infernape team, of course, because naturally, that's the best starter, and thus it makes all the more difficult to deal with. That Infernape has close combat, which is worrying enough. It makes it easy to overlook the absolutely awful fire-type representation it has. The rest of this team though, my god, is it one of the best today. Staraptor, Snorlax, Roserade, Floatzel, and Heracross? I mean, guys, this is like a best team I could potentially put together. There are no breaks against Barry, And it's nuts to think some of these movesets are so not good that it could be even better. I mean, Roserade really only needs that Giga Drain Toxic combo. But imagine Sludge Bomb on there too. Snorlax having Body Slam over Covet, that would be nice too. Barry easily could have been the #1 spot, bar none on this team. But due to his movesets not being anywhere as good as it could be, gets held against it. These final 3 trainers are some massive pains in the ass. I can tell you that right now. We'll start with Silver, and this is the shenanigans I referenced in the intro finally coming up. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, we're talking about the battle you have with him in Mount Moon, which technically comes after beating the Elite Four. But a lot of people don't consider the Johto games beaten without actually taking down Red in Mount Silver. So I'm going to count the battle with Silver and Mount Moon as not being the post-game in the context of our video. He has got a team of absolutely heavy hitters. Even if you sit there and say, oh, Sneasel, Magneton, and Golbat aren't fully evolved, the moment you turn and see Feraligatr, Alakazam, and Gengar, you realize that you're actually in for a world of hurt. Silver's trade evos especially can bash your team about, even after you've become the champion of the league. They've both got special attacks over base 130, and are fast as hell. As for the Feraligatr, its moveset is great, making the most of what is given to it. The people that went to Kanto expecting a nice new gym challenge and the never deal of Silver again were rudely reminded that he is damn good in battle, and you've always got to be on your toes in battle against a rival. So this one that took the penultimate spot comes to us from all the way in the first generation by way of Pokemon Yellow. There is one battle that you have with Blue that is really aggravating, especially if you're not trying to be over-leveled. When he shows up as you're trying to liberate a Silphco building just to battle you, it's already an annoying amount of arrogance on display. But when you go from a bunch of level 25 Pokemon on the Rocket Grunts to a level 40 Jolteon, you realize just how much BS there is in this first generation. Sandslash's Slash can just cause a never-ending stream of crits, and Kadabra's insane strength, alongside a good speed stat, is murderous. As for Jolteon, Thundershock in its speed is a never-ending series of crits and depression in battle. I know I've been blown back by this team before, as well as a serious chunk of Pokemon Yellow players. This battle in particular, along with his attitude, is what makes Blue, from a contextual in-story standpoint, the most aggravating rival in the games. Could you imagine trying to do something as noble as save a building and disrupt Team Rocket, and in the process, some guy says he'll smell you later? What an absolute prick. Finally, we're at the hardest rival battle in the franchise, and one might say it's the most infamous. There are a ton of memes about it, a bunch of posts online, and probably many of you came into this video preparing to come across this particular battle. Your rival in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald and their Route 110 team is one of the most frustrating and downright despicable battles in the franchise with rivals. When you run up on either May or Brendan, they will have some combo of Numel, Shroomish, and Wailmer alongside the middle stage evo of a starter. I think any of the 3 teams is incredibly difficult to deal with, whether it be a Marshtomp that you basically are forced into using Shroomish to beat, or a Combusken that doesn't really care if you hit it with flying type moves. The Grovyle is even a threat with its speed and Pursuit Absorb combo. You've definitely had a moment, even if it only ever happened once, where you finally got through your errands for the Devon Corporation and ended up running into your rival and getting absolutely blown back. I want to hear your horror stories from this battle, especially if you were too stubborn or impatient to change up your team to get through it. I'd be lying if I said that this battle wasn't what inspired this video, as it's burned into my mind. I guess shoutouts to Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald for this one. Well, that's it for a rather interesting top 10. I'm not too sure about the reaction I'll get to this one because it's a lot different from top 10s that are a bit more objective. While this one was heavily influenced by subjective stuff. I want to hear your top 10 though. And I also want to see tons of stories about your battles with rivals when you were first starting some of these games, and even in the modern day if you have stories about that. I look forward to seeing what you've got to say. Welcome back to the outro, folks, your favorite part of the video. Thank you for enjoying another Mystic Umbreon video. We made it through the end of the 8th generation, and now we begin the long trek into late 2022 where Pokemon Scarlet and Violet await us. It's a whole new world we'll live in, but we still gotta catch them all. However, there's still a ton of videos to do and experiences to have until then. If you're interested in more Mystic content, check out my TikTok and the Mystic Umbreon Shorts YouTube channel. If we get the 10k followers on TikTok, I'll be doing a viewer's choice video. If you like Genshin Impact, check out my Genshin channel Teibachinary. So if you all enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. See you next time.